Welcome to A Look Inside. I'm your host, Demetria Head, and today's special guest is Love and Protest author Nancy Klann. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to the show, Nancy.
Thank you, Demetria.
So, your book, Love and Protest, what inspired you to write a story that intertwines Harper's journey in the Black Lives Matter movement with Libby's involvement in the anti-Vietnam War movement?
Well, my huge admiration to social activism, kind of fueled what the theme turned out to be. My first novel, The Clock of Life, has the same basic idea that people doing the right thing can make a difference. So it's sort of just something that drives my storytelling.
Okay. And how did you hope that parallel would resonate with readers?
Well, you're never certain how
Mhm.
it's going to resonate, but I think if I write, the more honestly I write, the more it will resonate with the
Okay.
readers.
Okay. The idea of using a diary, which I personally love, the added touch of the diary, but the idea of using a diary to bridge Harper's and Libby's stories is compelling. So, what drew you to this narrative device, and what challenges did you encounter, if at all, when balancing their two timelines?
Well, many years ago, a long, long time ago, my girlfriend and I, we used to go thrift shopping.
Mhm.
We'd leave our little kids with the husbands and we'd take off for a day. And we found a diary.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, and we actually did go look for the old lady that, it had written it. It wasn't serious. Anyway, I knew that eventually that it would be a great vehicle for a story. So I always knew that it was in the back of my head because it was a very
Mhm.
long time ago, but it was finally time to play with the idea of the diary.
What were the challenges that if did you encounter any challenges when balancing both timelines?
Yes, I had a lot of I had a running calendar of chapter by chapter. I had a
Mhm.
1967 actual calendar and
Oh, wow.
and so that I could, because I had to parallel actual events.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
had to have the timelines of when both girls were doing certain things to
Mhm.
to match up with actual events.
Okay.
So it was sort of like having a jigsaw puzzle, and
Mhm.
moving them around until all the pieces fit. And some of
Yeah.
them, yeah, some of them I didn't really. I Some of them I had to manipulate in the
Yeah.
story to get them in there.
Okay. Okay. Did you have to do a lot of when it comes to the Vietnam War movement, did you have to do a lot of research on that or were you around during the
Yes, I was.
Vietnam? Okay. So
Yes, I was.
did it
But yes, I did a lot of research. There's
okay.
a lot of old footage on YouTube and stuff. My best resource,
Hmm.
or the one that I kind of held on to and referred to all the time, is a book called Out Now by Fred Halstead. And
Okay.
this is what I would go
Wow.
to get actual. He chronicled everything.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So that was a great help.
Hmm.
And then just, there's a lot out there that
Yeah.
as far as research goes. So
Wow.
yeah,
That's impressive.
because it was a long time ago, you know,
Yeah.
and And then I had to pick and choose
Hmm.
what I would use.
Yeah. Did it also bring back memories of that era at
Yeah,
all?
somewhat it did. There were, I mean, I wasn't in the thick of it,
Yeah.
like
Okay.
my characters, but I was a hippie flower child, just not in San Francisco.
Okay. So both Harper and Libby are shaped by significant historical and social political moments. What do you think makes their responses to activism so universal despite the decades between them?
Well, first of all, coming of age in political unrest is
Hmm.
complex,
Hmm.
and both of these girls were neither one of these girls were from a family or anything that was even remotely on the radar as far as
Yeah.
the social activism goes. So I don't know. It was just through the strength of their involvement, it empowered the characters
Hmm.
for the story. You know, they had to get strong.
Yeah. Yeah. Find yourself at all, pieces of you at all in any of the characters?
Probably, but
Hmm.
I couldn't pinpoint it. I just, I felt so sorry for Harper
Yeah.
and and well, both
Hmm.
girls were literally motherless.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So they had to build up. They had to build
Right.
up in by themselves into the person that they became.
Okay. So the diary connects Harper and Libby's past, helping her process grief and find purpose. How did you develop the role of the diary in guiding Harper's personal and political transformation?
The diary had to be more than just a casual find, you know.
Hmm.
Um, it had to, let's see, yeah, well, it had to be bigger, much
Yeah.
bigger, and the loss of her mother
Hmm.
was the vehicle for, she was vulnerable, and this gave her peace or
Yeah. Yeah.
comfort, I would say.
Do you think that, speaking of the loss of her mother and her and Libby having that in common, being motherless, do you think that that um, will resonate with readers, or do you hope that will resonate with readers, or even uh, the experiences and the transitions that Harper make um, in the book? Do you hope that it provides some form of catharsis for readers?
Well, sure, I would hope so because yeah, if the reader connects with the
Mhm.
character, I would think that um, that would happen.
Yeah. Okay. Harper's activism is closely linked to her grieving process, especially following her mother's death. So, how do you view the relationship between personal loss and the desire for social change in her journey?
I think because of her mom's affinity towards
Mhm.
the philosophies of Atticus Finch and the whole idea of, everybody being equal no matter what.
Mhm.
Um, I think I think she wanted to make her mom proud of her seeing things the same way. Only when I think that had her mother been in the time of Harper, she might be more of an activist, but at the time her mom grew up and the place her mom grew up, she
Hmm.
was just mild mannered, and so Harper was, it was almost like carrying the baton for
Yeah.
her mom and Atticus.
Now remind us, I've heard Atticus Finch. Is that from?
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Atticus is the dad, the lawyer
The
father,
lawyer, yes,
and yeah,
yes. That was played by my husband. I know his name.
your husband. Who was that? That was Gregory Peck, maybe.
Yes, yes, it was Gregory Peck. I always thought he was handsome. That was my husband in that lifetime.
Well, George Clooney's mine.
My goodness, he's handsome too. So the novel includes the backdrop of the COVID-19 pandemic, intensifying Harper's isolation. How did you decide to integrate the pandemic into her story, and what do you think it adds to her character's development?
Well, I absolutely did not want to get into COVID. I mean, who
Hmm.
wants to write about that? But I had to because of
Yeah,
the timeline.
yes.
It wouldn't be an accurate story
Hmm.
if you just kind of gloss over
Hmm.
COVID, because COVID just devastated many, many lives.
Yeah, I did.
So let's see. Let me figure out what I think that the isolation
Hmm.
that Harper went through, and she was like a nervous wreck, looking at the death tolls every day,
Hmm.
and kind of getting herself anxious about it. And so I'm hoping that that resonates with readers.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it will. It definitely, being that we definitely were in the thick of the pandemic. So I think it will definitely resonate with a lot of readers because I mean, we're still experiencing it. Every time you look up, there's another strain, you
Right.
know. So so it seems like it's not going away really. In crafting Libby's diary entries, how did you capture the spirit and language of the 1960s counterculture? And were there any particular influences or sources that informed her perspective? I know you mentioned the one book that you used in terms of research, but were there any other influences?
Yes, very much so. There's a woman who I acknowledge. Uh, there's a woman named Kip Dawson. And I came across Kip Dawson through possibly through this Out Now book that I
Mhm.
showed you. And she was a true social activist,
Mhm.
true to the bone since she was in junior high school. And I ended up finding her through Facebook.
Wow.
And I told her I wanted to fashion one of my characters after her, and asked if I could, ask some questions. There's a
Mhm.
character named Kate Lawson
Mhm.
in the book, and she's fashioned after Kip
Oh, okay.
Dawson.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and Kip Dawson was maybe 21 years old, and she was the executive administrator of the whole mobilization program. I
Mhm.
mean, I was like blown away by her.
Yeah, that's impressive.
So I got to ask her some questions. I wanted things like, there were no cell phones. How did you
Yeah.
guys, did you have an office? Were you paid? What, those kind of
Hmm.
questions.
Hmm.
And the one great thing she says, no, we didn't have an office. We would either meet at a cafe called Cafe Mediterranean in Berkeley,
Okay. Okay.
or we would meet at Jerry Rubin's apartment or Abby Hoffman's apartment. And I'm going, oh, thank you, because that was all inside stuff that she told
Yeah.
me. So, so she was, she's somebody I admire.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
In fact, I don't know what's the name, what's the word for the quote at the beginning of a book? It's not an
Oh, the
epilogue.
epilogue? Oh,
No, that whatever that is called, um, that's her quote. It's a quote from her in the beginning of
oh, okay.
The Real
Okay.
Person.
Wow, that has to be something. I would love to meet, some of the activists from the earlier eras.
Yeah, she's got a website that one she
Mhm.
apparently she kept all her papers from all of her over the
Wow.
years. And
Wow.
now the university she lives in Pittsburgh, no, Philadelphia. I don't know. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Oh, so
And the
okay.
university is archiving all her stuff and has a website
Wow.
about her.
That's amazing. We're talking about years of like real history. That
Yes,
is just impressive to me.
yes.
Wow. Okay, so Love and Protest explores both societal and personal forms of resilience. What do you hope readers take away about resilience in the face of both grief and activism, like Harper's character?
I'm not sure I'm smart enough to answer that question, but because resilience is pretty much either it's either inside you or it's not. You either have it or you don't. But the ability of these characters to recover and bounce back
Mm-hmm.
is a quality that helps, the story along,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes them more interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so the book juxtaposes two powerful moments in U.S. history. What parallels or differences did you want readers to notice about the activism of the 1960s and that of today?
Well, I think that they parallel each other, and that's the intention. That's the theme. The activism,
Mm-hmm.
it's passion,
Mm-hmm.
and it's necessary.
Yeah.
And it probably doesn't matter,
Mhm.
what the cause is if it's
Yeah.
for the greater good.
Yeah. Do you think there is that much difference, or do you think there's a huge difference between Black Lives Matter, that movement, and the anti-Vietnam movement?
As far as the passion and in in the soul of the activists, of the kids,
Mm-hmm.
theoretically kids that are, um, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think that the need to right a wrong,
Hmm.
um, goes beyond decades and
Yeah.
causes. I think there's just a something you have to do.
And
So maybe your
yeah,
parents aren't going to approve, but you
yeah,
have to do it.
yeah, yeah, and it takes courage. It takes
Very,
courage because we live in a society. It doesn't matter what area you're from. We live in a society where um, you could be fighting for a good cause, and you might have maybe 40-50% of the people behind you, but then you also have other people who have an opposing
right.
view.
right,
so how do you navigate that?
right,
Or like when you
and the strength that it takes
Mhm.
to be spit on, or
Yeah,
having people in your face. I mean,
yeah,
it's a quality that to me is very admirable.
it
How
is. It is. I don't think I
I
I
know.
don't think I could do it. But but it paved the way, you know, for us to for society as a whole to be or to get as far as they have gotten today, even though we still have a long way to go. It's always something. But yeah, I don't think I could have done it. I probably would have been in the back rooting like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I probably would have been driving them to and from. No, I would like to think I
Yeah.
I've been to protests,
You
and
have?
yeah, yeah,
Oh
but
wow.
not really anything that turned violent or anything like that. And then there
Okay.
were the women's marches,
Okay. I have
and
a question though. So when did, because you said that you're in social activism, right?
no, I said I
You're not.
admire.
So how many or how long have you been going to protest or what when did you go to your first protest?
Well, that was a long, probably in the 70s and stuff. I was, I am a
Oh, okay.
sideline protester. I'm not a militant,
Oh,
a
so you're not
strong.
like in the
I'm not.
thick of it
No,
on the
I'm not
front
an
line.
organ. I'm not an organizer. I'm just an author.
Like me, I'm a silent supporter.
You're so cute.
Like I'm all for a good cause, but I just couldn't be on the front line. I would have to really, I don't know what would get me to that front line. I really don't, but I'm all for good causes that are going to benefit society as a whole. And speaking of that, what characteristics did you uh hope to bring out of Harper and Libby's characters that you wanted readers to see in terms of their protesting and what they were fighting for? Were there any specific characteristics?
No, it just came their passion and
Mhm.
their resilience. Both girls went through so much emotionally,
Yeah,
and and I really admire both of them.
yeah. Okay. So, what do you see as the endearing connection between love and activism?
Well, it it was the love. It was their choices of who to love
Mm-hmm.
that went hand in hand with their beliefs and their choices,
Mm-hmm.
because each one of them was literally um, picked a person that would bring them along and teach
Mm-hmm.
them.
Okay. How do you believe these two forces, love and activism, drive both Harper and Libby to engage with their worlds?
Well, I think both of them were lost before they found love,
Mhm.
and that made helped make them whole.
Mhm. Okay.
That's what I think.
Yeah. And it really is a great book. And like I said before, I enjoyed reading it. Um, I I might even read it a second time because I find myself when I read books like this, I end up reading them a second and third time because for me I may have missed something or gotten something different from the message in the book the second and third time around.
Right, right.
Um, and I think that a lot of other readers will do that as well because
Yes,
I mean it's something that we can all relate to. It's something, especially Harper's journey, is something that we're going through right now. A lot of people.
yes, yes. And I'm just humbled that you like the
Mhm.
book so much.
I
And
did.
also, I would encourage you to read The Clock of Life, which is
Oh,
another one of my
definitely.
novels, because the same sort of
Mhm.
themes are running through that one.
Okay. I did see that you the book cover for that one. Did you send me the ebook for the PDF for that one?
No, but I will.
Okay. Okay, I would definitely love to read that.
Yeah. PDF to Demetria. You got it.
So, what are some other things that you want readers to take away from Love and Protest?
Well, I like the intimacy of you know the writing because you get to feel so much
Mhm. Mhm.
along with the girls
Yeah,
and
that
and
is true.
and their companions, and then
Mhm.
there is an ending that is little bit surprising.
Mhm.
So and it's very tender and
Mhm.
dear. It kind of at the end you don't feel like what at the end.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. But I do have a few more questions that I do want to ask you as far as um, your writing. Did you find, because I know that as we were speaking before the interview, you said that there were things that you did not want to add as the cliche ending for the book. Did you find at any point that the book was taking a life of its own as you were writing it?
Yeah, it dictated a lot of things that and especially this the fact that I knew what kind of an ending I did not want,
Yeah.
and I had no idea how it would end.
Mhm.
And I was probably more over halfway through
Mhm.
because I knew I got to figure this out. And
Mhm.
bingo, it just I got the idea.
Yeah.
So that took over. That
Yeah.
definitely did just take over. I mean, I know it was in my subconscious,
Mhm.
obviously, because I worked it so much in my subconscious. And then, of course, when the girls did certain things, it was like,
Mhm.
oh, good for her. She
Yeah.
surprised me.
I do have another question for you in terms of your writing style, because you're a great writer, in my opinion. Um, how difficult, or was it difficult at all, uh, fusing like real life events um, into a fiction novel? How difficult was it to even do that?
Well, I think basically it made it easier for me
Mhm.
because I didn't have to make everything up.
Yeah.
There were literally, I could go. There could be a march in San Francisco from
Hmm.
Powell Street to some other street, and it really happened.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I could just research a little bit and then imagine,
Hmm.
imagine how she felt and imagine what the people looked like,
Yeah.
barefoot and whatever. So I think it probably made it easier.
Yeah. I wish I could write like that, but I can't. Um, for me, I don't think, yeah, I don't really write um in that style. I think that I would probably pull my hair out, try to figure out, okay, how can I make this work? My thing is thriller and fiction.
Ah,
And so yeah, so that's my area. And for me, it's easier to just make something up. I don't know.
yeah,
Um,
well, I would never attempt anything that's nonfiction. I know a
mhm.
lot of people who write memoirs and stuff, and it's like,
Yes.
oh, I can't tell the truth. I gotta make stuff up. And if the girl was a brunette, I'd have to make her a blonde with pink streaks through her hair because the visual, because I can make
Yeah.
it the visual.
And it sounds more fun that way.
Right, and it's something you can actually see.
Hmm. What do you find easier? Do you find it easier to write dialogue as opposed to the atmospheric setting or vice versa?
The atmospheric setting is a little bit easier because of
Mm,
the rewrites and rewrites. Now, the dialogue is pretty lame in the beginning.
mm,
In the early drafts, I have to go back and go over dialogue and and shorten things
mhm,
and make it. I think I both of them I work on really hard at,
mhm.
but I would say the first couple of drafts, my narrative is better than my dialogue. But
Okay.
at the
Okay.
and then I go figure it out.
Wow. I mean, you're a very good writer. I wouldn't have been able to tell that, oh, she went through a couple of drafts first. I
Oh my goodness, yes.
No,
Yeah, I
it's
go.
really good.
Thank
It's
you.
really good. And I really do hope that you get more eyes on Love and Protest because I think that more people really do need to read the story and hear the narrative. They really do.
Well, I sure appreciate you bringing it to your people, your listeners and followers. I really
Well,
do.
definitely. So before we get off here, Nancy, why don't you tell everyone where they can uh, follow you on social media and also the website where they can go and learn more about the book and about you?
My website is Nancy Klann-Moren, Moren.com. That's my author name. But when I'm not writing, I'm Nancy Klann without the Moren. And my Facebook is Nancy Klann, and my Instagram is Nancy Klann, and Twitter. What is Twitter? You know what? I'm not sure. I'll I've got it on my emails, but I don't
Okay.
have anything pulled up right now. But I've got Instagram, I've got Facebook, I've got the website, and I've got Twitter.
Okay. Well, I will definitely put that in the description box and I'll add the Twitter or X, whatever they're calling it
Right,
these days.
right, right.
I'll definitely find that because I think I'm following you on all of them, but I'll double check. But I'll add all of your socials in the description for everyone to follow you and for everyone to keep up to date on your next project and to definitely check out your website as well.
Okay. My next project an idea. I really admire whistleblowers. So
Oh,
I'm going to and I and I love coming of age stories. So it'll be
yes.
a young kid that's dumpster diving or something.
Oh,
and
that's going to be interesting.
yeah, he comes across something. So
Uh-huh.
that's and it's the title is tentatively Snitch.
Okay. Okay.
So, but it's sort of like just germinating now.
Okay. Well, I would definitely love to read it once you're done, and I can't wait until you're finished with that project. Well, this was so nice, Nancy. Thank you for deciding to do this interview with me. Um, it was so great having you.
Well, like I say, I really appreciate you talking to me about it and enlightening other people about it.
Oh, absolutely.